do you think we laugh and enjoy life enough together?
Yes.
That's it.
I actually think that we probably laugh too much. People might think we laugh too much, but we laugh sometimes at the wrong time.
When you laugh at the wrong things.
Everything is a joke.
I don't say everything is a joke.
It's not a joke, but it's a laughing moment.
It's pretty funny.
I like to laugh.
Why'd you sound robotic? I like to laugh. Like,
Yeah. That's my signal.
Right. Like I'm forcing you to do something.
No, but for real, we do laugh a lot. So
as you can tell, I mean, in every episode that you've seen so far, clearly we are laughing and enjoying one another and enjoying the other couples. And so thank you for tuning in for week 3 of the Love Month series here on One Faith. This week we are featuring the Kellers. So us and the Kellers, we go, oh, that's bad, horrible English.
the Kellers and the Midnight.
The Kellers and the Neck Knights go away. It's very late at night, y'all.
It's late.
The Kellers and the Neck Knights go way back in the time. And we are so excited to have them on. When we met the Kellers back in 2013, it was under unfortunate circumstances. And graciously enough, they just decided to share their testimony, share their story with us in this episode. It's a very powerful story. It's a very powerful testimony. And all of this happened within the first month of their marriage. And you could just imagine how strong and how hard that time was for their marriage. But I feel like, and I believe that really built the foundation of their marriage. And as you can see, they've been together for 7 going on 8 years strong. So we thank God that the Kellers agreed to be on the episode with us. You're in for a treat. There's a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes, but there will be some tears shed. I guarantee you that there will be some tears shed. So prepare your hearts and get you some napkins, get you something to eat. Don't get no popcorn. Go to Chick-fil-A, get you a salad or something. Or some chicken nuggets, whatever you want, whatever your heart's desire. Get it and let the Lord bless you. I mean, this is date night. Maybe they want to eat while they watch us eat. Well, you're not really going to watch us eat. You're just going to watch us eat our food. But anyways, enjoy the episode.
We got some, actually we are started digging in a little bit, but we got some, I got some salmon and some shrimp. I got some whipped mashed potatoes. Homemade whipped mashed potatoes. And some asparagus, some roasted asparagus.
I you being all healthy with that roasted asparagus. All right, here we go. All right, so what we have here. Yeah, here's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we have here is an old staple.
Yeah. I know that's right.
Okay.
The penne rosa with Parmesan crusted chicken and a Caesar salad.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's good. So, all right, y'all.
Dig in if you got already started.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So at the time, me and my brother James was living together, and I wasn't dating anybody at the time, and James was, I think him and Amanda had just started talking, and so I guess he was over my brother and sister-in-law house, and Bianca was there. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so Jane, I guess the conversation came up. I don't know how it came up, but James told her, he was like, Bianca, I got somebody for you. And what did you say to
her? I was like, no, you don't.
So
I don't want to talk to your friend.
So eventually we end up having a little event at my house where I usually cook, because that's usually what I used to do during college. I would always cook, and everybody would always. This is when I was living with my aunt. People would come over to my house when I would cook. So this particular time I could, fry some wings. What did I fry some wings? That I made some baked spaghetti. So it was my brother and my sister-in-law and their friends, and Bianca was there, and my sister was there, my oldest sister Tequila, and so I kid y'all not, like, and I tell Bianca this all the time. So for everybody who's 90s kids, when we used to watch Doug. So when Doug, whenever he would see Patty Mayonnaise, it was like he would go in like this trance. And I kid you not, when Bianca, I promise you, when Bianca came through that door, it was just like that. It was like if I could animate it the same way, it was the same way. And when I say it was love at first sight, it was love at first sight. Like it's just, like this feeling just came all over. I was like to myself, gosh, she is so beautiful. She is gorgeous. Ain't no way I'm about to pull this. But I was like, no, man, I got confidence in myself. I'm about to pull this. So, we all came in. They came in and everything, and we played. Not Family Feud. We played Taboo. Doing some things just to break the ice and whatever. So after we ate and everything, about this time.
Back up. When we played Taboo, y'all, let me tell you this. I knew he was trying to flirt, and he was flirting. The Taboo game, it has a timer and it has a buzzer. And every time I would hit the buzz, he would try to get his hand and hit it.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. He would try to hit my hand. I'm like, okay, now you can continue. I just want to say that part.
Oh, I don't remember that. But so by this time, I think it was like watching a movie or something, and I already had a cake in the oven. So it was time for me to go ahead and make my icing. So I went over there to the kitchen, everybody, watching TV or whatnot. And I was
pretty much everybody that was there was booed up.
Yeah, basically, except for Bianca. So I was like, who want to help me make icing? And everybody turned and looked at Bianca. It was like, Bianca.
I was like, I don't want to make no icing.
I was just being me. So that was the only thing. That was the only way I knew. So she came over there and whatnot. So we started talking.
Tell how you were saying what you do. He got his deep voice on.
Okay. I had my Barry White going on. I was just being me. I was just being Rez. That's all I was being. Just being Rez. So I was just telling what to put in there, not to put too much and everything. And James then was like, listen to Tereze over there trying to talk all deep. He don't be talking deep like that all the time. But I did not ask for her number that night. And I did it on purpose. I was like, I ain't gonna ask for the number the first night because I want to get a good impression on her first and make her think about me. Mm-hmm. And I want her to think about me and say, I wonder why he asked me my number. I had it planned.
Bye. We're on.
Bye.
Get in the bed. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Internet job.
So I had a plan. I said, I'm not gonna call her. I said, I'm gonna wait to get her number. And then by that time we had the It was like around December, and so we had the Christmas gala, and then that's when I called that night. I saw her at the Christmas gala, and of course, she was looking beautiful, regal. I'm just like, man, this crazy. Lord, what God has for me, it is for me. That was me. That was me. I was like, this is mine. I'm gonna pull this. At the same time, I didn't even know. I know, but at the same time, I didn't know that somebody else was trying to talk to her too. Well, they had it in mind. I don't know if they had already approached her, but I had told this particular person, I was like, nah, I already, that's me. I already got the number. And I was like, oh man, for real. I was like, yeah, that's me already.
He didn't even. He was claiming it because I had
Of course.
That's right.
I was the Lord's territory then.
But I got her phone number that night, and then she tried to say when I asked. Go ahead.
So when he got my number, he was smooth with it, but he was chewing gum.
I was not chewing gum.
So he was like, "Can I get your number?" And I was like,
say it like
chewing his gum.
Tereze.
Like, my number? Why you want my number? He was like, so I could talk to you. And I was like, okay. And I gave it to him. And I thought he was going to call me that night, and he didn't.
Wait. So
this is the time when once we got married, he said that he did that on purpose. But when he did call, I think he probably, what, 2 days before he called? When he did call, he had his very white voice on. Hello. And I was like, who is this? His voice was very attractive on the phone.
Okay.
So what you trying to say? I want attractive in person, but I was attractive on the phone.
You was attractive in person, but I'm just saying your voice was just different.
I know.
And so I was like, okay. So we talked for a long time. That first night, we talked on the phone. And intentionally, like, my intentions was just to have fun. I had got out some bad relationships, and I wasn't looking to really, like, be committed, but just have somebody take me out to the movies and take me out to eat. And I was like, he seemed like a nice guy. So that's what I did. And then it turned into more.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for us, like my thing was also too, because I really had not dated a lot of girls. It was only maybe like two or three that I really was in had a relationship with. And because I didn't feel like me, I didn't have time to waste time. I wasn't a player or nothing like that. What I wanted, I knew what I wanted. And when I love hard. So, I didn't have time to waste really on a relationship, especially if I'm seeing it's not going anywhere. But with us, like, I think with us was we stayed honest with each other. Like in every whatever we felt there was something wrong, or we didn't feel right, or if we just weren't having a good day, we was honest with each other in communication, open, like from the beginning. We was always open.
And I think that's one of the things that definitely attracted me and won me over in regards to, not completely over, I haven't been won over yet, but that was one thing that really it took my perspective of him from just having fun, having someone take me out, to like, okay, now, like, he really seemed like someone that he's very open and honest, very transparent. And in previous relationships that I had, I didn't get that. And so to see that, that was like from the forefront, from the beginning, that honesty and that transparency, I was like, okay, I can work with that. I can work with it. I can really see where this will go, and not just just what do my initial intentions was just to have fun for us going out and stuff.
And the most important part, I love the Lord.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ashamed of my relationship with,
Yeah.
you know, with Christ. So that was one thing. If you with me, you're gonna know that first.
Yeah. That was one thing
me.
too. Yeah, that was one thing too that I did notice. It wasn't shameful. Like it wasn't, his relationship with the Lord wasn't shameful. And I know there was one particular situation where he texted me, and I had texted him back, and he sent me another text message, and I wish to God I would still had this text message, because this was really like, I like to laugh, and I like to be with someone that I can laugh with.
And that's, man, we laugh.
We laugh all the time. And so he sent me this text message, and he was like, I didn't know what happened. I started to call down heaven and call God's angels. I
thought you had with the glory.
He thought I had with the glory. And I was like I just like died laughing off of that. And so that was something I was like, okay. I can deal with it. I can work with this.
Yeah. But that's another thing, like, you know, in our relationship is like we're open and honest, and we love to laugh. We love to have fun. We are very, very, very good. We laugh at some stuff that probably ain't even funny, but we'll laugh at it. That's just how we are. I mean, you know, to keep life in the relationship. So that's one of the things that I know we definitely love to do. Fast forward, you know, through, oh gosh, marriage, which is this year will be.
Well, this year.
This year will make 8 years.
Yeah, this year will make 8 years, but we just celebrated.
Celebrated our 7th year anniversary back in December.
We're going to celebrate this 7th right now.
So yeah, we're celebrating the 7th, but because the time is like, anniversary is December, and then as soon as January get here, it's like, okay, now this year we're celebrating another. Yeah. But we just celebrated 7 years, and coming this December, Lord's willing.
December what?
December 14th.
Okay.
I think everybody might sometimes go through that. I'm like, dang, I know it's December, but I can't remember the date exactly.
Junior's birthday, y'all anniversary, Christmas.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. You ain't think that through.
You got a lot of things going on.
Yes, Lord.
It did be a lot.
But like 7 years, man, it's been a journey, and it's been an awesome journey. Like it's been, I mean, of course, in marriage, you have your ups, you have your downs, but like one thing I can say is that when we received our counseling, when we before we got married, you know, one thing that was, you know, drilled in us was you got to be willing to stick and to stay.
Yes.
And I kind of already had it in mind, because I had, you know, I said the first woman to bear my children was going to be my wife anyway. And growing up, I had already seen, you know, the different I'm just saying. I'm just trying to explain, my reason. I'm not. I'm just saying. Just let me explain. I had already had my mind, because of all the people I've seen, relationships of, the baby mama, baby daddy drama. That was one thing I just did not want to go through. So I wouldn't say I was picky. I was just very wise in the decisions I made and who I wanted to date, and of course who I wanted to marry. And that was one thing that I made sure, like the woman that has my children, she will have my last name as well. And that's one thing, I made sure of that, because I'm not doing this thing twice. Unless, that's I'm
unless
in
one
it.
of us die. Well, unless I die. Well, look, God forbid.
God forbid. God forbid. God forbid. Lord, keep us here, Lord.
Yes.
Corona and everything going around. But yeah, that was one thing. Like willing to stick and to stay, and throughout, I don't care what the problem is, and we've had problems. Every marriage does, but we stick it out. We talk about it. It may get frustrating sometimes, and it may linger for a little bit, but we make sure that eventually it's always addressed, because our thing is we don't want problems to continue to linger and fester and get out of control, and we don't address the issues head on. And that was another thing that we addressed also too early in our marriage was whatever it is, talk about it. If we both got to sit on the couch and look the other way until one of us muster up the strength to be like, all right, man, well, I just feel, and hey, the conversation is started. It might start off with an attitude or some tears, but eventually, guess what? You're talking.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, that's still, even up to this point, that's still a work in progress. Because some things you don't, some subjects, just me as an individual, you're just kind of like on the fence about. So I'm definitely learning to just be upfront and don't assume how he may respond to what I have to say. But just be open and honest. I think one thing that he always tells me is like, if you have a problem, you can't assume that I know. Just say it, get it out there, and don't just let it fester. And I know, just me being a person, I keep a lot of things to myself, and it's like that's just what I'm used to. I'm used to just keeping it in and just dealing with it in the moment, and then when things seem better, moving on. But Tereze definitely stresses the fact that, like, if there's a problem, let's get it out there, let's address it. We may not fix it, but at least we know how both of us are feeling at the moment. And sometimes we'll have a resolution, sometimes we won't. Sometimes we'll agree to disagree. But the main thing is us being able to get out there and us knowing how each other feel.
Right. And I think too, I think a lot of times, like with us men, like even though we'll tell our wives, I'm not a mind reader, or I don't know how you feel if you don't say nothing.
Maybe no.
But sometimes, like, I think, like, what I know I have had to work on is actually discerning how she feels or what type of mood that she's in, because sometimes she may not be able to say it. Sometimes she may just want me to know. And, I've definitely had to work on that a lot. Just understanding, like, what mood she's in, or if she's really feeling some type of way. Because I know me, my mouth runs 1,000 miles per hour. I may say something where I don't feel like that it hurts her feelings, but it does. And so, like, if she don't tell me a lot of time, I'm like, I don't know. I just said it. I guess, it's all right. But I have to be like, okay, Tereze, hush, be quiet. First of all, listen to what you're saying is coming out your mouth, and then understand and see if this has actually hurt her feelings, or, how she's feeling, or what I've said. I've definitely worked on that a lot and gotten a lot better at that. I'm still a work in progress. But I can say, I got 7 years under my belt, so I got a little time, to say I got a little wisdom. I know it ain't nothing but 7, but shoot, compared to the way, the world is now, and the 7 years for a 29 and a 30-year-old, it's a shame to say, but that's kind of rare these days. But yeah, that's just we're still yet progressing and learning each other every single day. And that's crazy, because it's like hey, we've been together 7 years and I'm still learning stuff about you. And I've even heard couples that got like 40, 50, and 60 years in that say they're still learning their wives or they're still learning their husbands every single day. So I think that's an awesome thing that it actually requires you to continue to seek after each other and learn each other, which basically keeps that cycle of love and understanding and trusting one another and their communication, because every day is different, every second is different, and that's the way how we continue to just learn each other.
And to add on to that, I feel like too, when you're in it to win it and you're there to stick and stay, I feel like as we mature individually, we're going to always have that something new to learn about the other individual. But yeah, we're here. We love each other. We're in love with each other, and thank God for it. Thank God I didn't pass him up for somebody else.
Yeah. She's my good thing. She it would have been her loss. Just saying.
I can say this. It will be history. But of course, we all want to meet Jesus one day, But if I was talking about like an earthly vessel, not Jesus when he was here on earth, I'm talking about like somebody else. I would say my daughter. If I could meet anyone, it would be her. Questions to ask. Right now, she will be 7. She will be 7 years old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. That I think that definitely probably would be one. Because I used to that was one of my thing when holding her in my arms, like what how would she sound, who would she act like, things like I would never be able to see her walk, get married, all those things. And I would just want to hear her voice. That's all. I would just want to hear her voice and see her smile, see her cry, like just the small, simplest things. Like that is definitely one person I definitely in history, in life, I wish that I could see again. Is my daughter. But she's in heaven now.
Yeah.
Of course, I would like to have. I really would have. I know we're gonna, just like you said, we want to see Jesus one day. But just if I could ask him a question, like Lord, why, why do you love us so much?
Mm.
Like, what is it about us? About human beings, knowing that we are wretched, sinful, not trustworthy, a lot of times not honorable, and we sin, but you still love us. Why? Why? After all disappointment, after saying, Lord, yeah, I'm gonna follow you, but then we fall back into our old ways. Lord, accept me back, then they go back again. Lord, I done did it again, Lord. And yet and still he still loves us in spite of. Like, that's if when I do meet Jesus, if I'm able to ask the question, that would definitely be one of the things I would want to ask him.
We had Elena before we got married. We conceived
No, we
conceived Elena before we got married.
Yeah.
And, being that we have a Christian background, of course, it's frowned upon because of the disappointment, which I understand. But one of the main, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons of why I married Tereze and he wanted to marry me was because we had a baby. And, we wanted our, neither one of us wanted to have a child out of wedlock, or we didn't want to have to go through the stories that we've seen and how he was raised of not having a two-parent home, and not just a two-parent home, but a two-parent home where they like each other, they enjoy being with each other. So we got married, and we lost her January the 2nd, 2014. So we had been married.
We had not been married.
You're right. Yeah, we hadn't been married a full month yet, and so everything.
We started at 27 weeks. It's when we started. When we noticed because you had the little amniotic fluid.
Well, we really don't have to go back that far. I feel like basically, and speaking about our marriage, we've had so many people that expressed how they were proud of us, and how they basically we had people that probably didn't think we would make it this far because of the circumstances that we were in when we got married,
and because we had conceived her out of wedlock.
Yeah, because we had conceived her out of wedlock. So and to be 100% honest, because we're transparent, when we got married, I definitely had that that I don't necessarily want to say doubt, but I was kind of like, okay, Lord, I don't want to say doubt in my marriage, but it was just like I was reserved about it a little bit, because it's like, okay,
just say it was a doubt, a reservation. Yeah,
a reservation. Yeah, I can say that. I did have a reservation, and so because one of the very reasons of why we got married is no longer here. Here I am thinking, one of the very reasons why I married him, not the only reason, I want to make that clear. It wasn't the only reason, because I did love him. But one of the very important reasons of why I married him is no longer here. So it's like, okay, so now we really got to figure us out, because now it's not so I'm marrying him, I'm staying with him to raise this daughter. Now that daughter is out the picture. So I definitely believe so far there has not been any tests as bad as that one was. No, we didn't argue, we didn't fight, we didn't, we didn't go through that stuff. That test was mainly to say, for me, it confirmed our marriage. It confirmed that it wasn't a matter of us getting together because we have had this child, but this was the Lord's doing. And so I truly feel that way. And like I said, I think that was the biggest trial that we've gone through thus far, was losing our daughter and still pushing through to be where we are today.
For me, like I kind of felt the same way like she did. When, at the time when Elena was gone, it was like, now I'm like, okay, now I'm in the mode, okay, I gotta get through the situation. I need to make sure Bianca's okay. And everything else, how I feel, whatever, I just put it in the back of my mind and just try to get through this. But at the same time, the enemy was throwing stuff in my head. Well, Elena gone, bro. You can bounce. You can go. Y'all stand together. I mean, people doubted anyway, so just go ahead and just squash it, let it go. You can go. She can go her separate way. You can go your separate way. And it'll be it. That'll be done. But I was like, nah, devil. Get out my face. Like, get thee behind me. You talking crazy. I'm not leaving my wife, especially after we've just lost our daughter, our first child. No, I knew that was nothing but the enemy, and I wasn't going to allow him. To
break what God has put together,
basically, and make me look like a fool, as if I'm not a real man and I can't take care of my wife in her time of great despair, because that's what it was for us. Like, there were times like I had to be strong for her, and I didn't cry in front of her, because for me, like, I couldn't, because I don't want to be crying and she crying at the same time, and I'm like, well, somebody got to show some strength somewhere.
Yeah.
So times when she did cry,
there was times where we did cry together.
There was times that we did cry together, but as a man, like, my eyes can't be red all the time. If anybody gonna do most of the crying, it's got to be her, because if anything, she carried the child.
Yeah,
she carried the baby. That's both of our child, but there's no connection like a mother with her child. Right. As Misha, carrying your baby. So it's that I knew it was much harder for her, and there was times, where at night, or if I was at work or somewhere, I would shed a tear here and now. And I would tell you, one thing that was hard for me was going past the graveyard. Like, I could not go past the graveyard and not break down. Like, that was another thing that was very hard for us. I mean, it was just like I would start to hyperventilate, and I would just have to slow my breathing, because all those emotions and everything would just fill back up as if it happened all over again.
I think for me, the hardest thing once we lost her, I think it was running into people and they asked the question, "Oh, you had a baby. How's the baby?"
Yeah.
And having to explain that, that was very hard.
Yeah.
I think that was very hard. And but yeah.
How did y'all really cope through it together? I know the obvious answer is God helped pull you guys through together. But what did you guys do together as a couple to pull you closer together, for one, but to help you guys get through that tough situation?
We prayed a lot with each other, and even when we wasn't around each other, assuming I know she definitely prayed for me, and I always prayed for her. I loved on her. We loved on each other. Like, we had to make sure that we were just there for one another, because it was something that, of course, both of us was experiencing for the first time. Having a child, being married, and then losing a child.
Yeah.
So it's like, we had to go through it together. We didn't go through it separately. Like, we had to go through that situation together. Yeah. Like, we were each other's rock.
Yeah, and I feel like another way we went through it, be honest with you, is just had another baby.
I mean, that too.
Really, because no matter how you put it, for me, he may agree, but made this a little bit. It was a void, and so we laughed, we went out, we got to know each other, but we still had that emptiness until I got pregnant again. Mm-hmm. And it's you're happy, but you're like, oh Lord, you still walking on eggshells at least all the way to 31 weeks. Right. Because that's when I lost her.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because y'all were almost there. Yeah. Early miscarriage, or second child. You were pretty much at the end. So that's really close to
Yeah. I mean, she was,
I was like the shots that you're supposed to get, because they had already projected that she may come early, but they were doing everything they can to prevent her from coming early. And so I was taking shots. I think I had just got like the last shot that I needed to take, steroid shots and everything. And Bishop had prayed for her that New Year's night, and then the next day it was like boom. And it's like, you think it's so many thoughts that run through your head. So many thoughts that run through your head.
Because I know one that came to my head was, this is our punishment.
Yep, you think about that too.
That was the number one thing for me. I felt like it was a punishment for one, the simple fact that we had sex out of wedlock. And the result of having sex out of wedlock, which is considered sin, I felt that was God's way of saying, because you were disobedient and you did not do it the right way, I'm going to take your daughter home. That was just my feeling.
Right.
That's how I felt. That's just how I felt. And after everything happened, and this is the time where I'm praying and I'm asking Lord, like, how you gonna, like, I even asked, like, Lord, why did you take her? Like, I understand that we sin. Like, I was angry, and I was angry with God. I'm just being honest. I was angry. I was like, Lord, why did you take her? Like, she didn't do anything wrong. Like, it was me. And at the end of the day, the Lord showed me that even though I took her, I can always give you more than what you've lost. Because at the end of the day, I have to get the glory out of the situation. And Bianca's aunt actually prophesied to us that when we got pregnant with Junior, she was like, God told me that he was going to give y'all double for your trouble. That's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because after we had Junior, 6 months later, we got pregnant again. She got pregnant again, and we had another miscarriage. This time, it was early on. She miscarried at 12 weeks.
No, it was like 8 weeks. Between 8 and 10 weeks.
8 and 10 weeks. So, Lord knows, that brought up everything all over again. And I'm like, Lord, like, I can't take no more. I can't.
And it's very, and then we had our son Landon. So
wait.
We got 2 rainbow babies.
Yeah, that's what they call them. So it's crazy because after we lost that pregnancy.
Yeah, it won't long.
Yeah, and like 3 months later, we got pregnant again. We got pregnant with Landon.
Yeah. And so, like, it's very nerve-wracking. Even like Lord's will, he would tell this coming, and we have another child. It's very nerve-wracking because I know both ends of the perspective. I know, or the spectrum. I know that I still have that feeling of walking on eggshells, losing my baby early, and the possibility of losing it when you get close to the end. So that's something that, I believe I'm always going to be praying about anytime I get pregnant, because it's just nerve-wracking. I mean, you don't want either one to happen. You don't want to lose them early, but you don't want to lose them late. So you just pray that you have a healthy pregnancy and that all goes well. And the thing about it is, I know that I'm capable. The one thing that I can say that I do thank the Lord for giving me, He's given me, not only have I lost, but I've also have had 2 healthy kids. No health problems. They are rambunctious, they are energetic, they boys, yes. And so, so I know that my body can not only that my husband produced the seed, but I know that my body can receive the seed, and a healthy baby can develop. So I thank God for giving me that peace of mind, because there are women out there who's had several miscarriages, and they're at the point where they feel less of a woman, if you will, because their body cannot. There's something going on where their body is not able to hold a baby and bring forth a healthy baby. So I thank God that he did show me that's not always going to be the case.
And I'm gonna tell you, y'all, I think so. When Bianca was cramping that night, I knew it was kind of different. I knew the pain for her was different. Of course, I couldn't feel it physically, but like emotionally, I could feel it for her. So when we finally, went into the doctor, whatever, and then the ultrasound, and like I said, I went to every appointment with Elena.
Yeah, Elena.
And every time they did the heartbeat, or we do the ultrasound, I could spot it right then and there. But this particular time, when I didn't hear a heartbeat, and the doctor would, he's moving the thing around, and he just like, he did it like 3 times, and I was like, she's gone. And that's when he went in and told me, he was like, I'm sorry to tell you guys, this baby's died on us. And I think when it was, and then that's when he told us, he was like, you're still going to have to deliver the baby.
Oh, yeah.
So when we got over, because we were right across the street, her OB was right across the street from Rex. So we went over to Rex, and it was time for her to go ahead and deliver Elena. I don't know why, but for me, I was just like, well, maybe like as soon as she's come out, we're gonna hear a squeak, or a
we
little
both
cry,
felt that way.
or something. And it was like, we didn't. And like, y'all, I promise you, to this day, I have never cried like the way I cried on that night. Yeah. I never cried like that, because like it's literally feels like your heart and your soul is just ripped out away from you. And I was just like God, like I can't explain it. Like I was weeping like a baby. Like of course my mom, if she was here, she would have been, if she could have been here, she would have been here. But my cousin, which I call her my aunt, she my aunt. I remember Bianca was in the bed. She was on the hospital bed, and my aunt, she was beside me. She was holding me. And I remember, just grabbing on her t-shirt and just crying and crying and crying and crying, because I had never felt anything like that before. And even when, they were saying, that they had to finally take her out of the room, because of course, she couldn't stay in there long. And they put her like in a little baby warmer to keep her body warm as they could. But of course, when they took her off, like that was another thing. Like I felt cold and freezing cold as a male man, but the cold on a body that's no life is in it, that's a different cold. I mean, like the coldness that was in her body was just like it was unreal. And
lifeless.
Lifeless. And I was just like, Lord, like how are we gonna get through this? How are we gonna get through this?
Yeah, that was definitely, you wasn't the only one that felt that way. I felt that way too. Like it's like, and we had this conversation a little bit later on, probably a few weeks later on. It's like you want to pray, you want to have enough faith to say, Lord, breathe in her now, so she can come home. Like you want to have that, but at the same time, it's like, but is that selfish of me if you've already made your decision not for her to be here? Or are you Lord, are you wanting me to have that faith to believe that you can bring life into her? I've had, that thought go across my mind many of times, but just I always thought like when we was there, like that I was gonna hear her cry. It's like that's what I was waiting. People came, they had already called the chaplain in there, they had already said she was gone.
That situation.
We didn't talk about that. They had already said she was gone. And it's like I still, while she was around me, before they finally took her out, while she was around me, it was like I still was like, I'm just waiting. And it didn't happen, And even when I left, I think, did we leave that night?
Yeah, we left that
We
night.
left the hospital that night.
Yeah.
And to see other women, because when you leave the hospital, you hold the mother holds the baby. To see other women smiling and holding their baby, and you keep a smile on your face because I'm just a person that smiles all the time. But to have you leave and you see other people going out with their babies and other people going out with their hospital bag, and you don't go out with nothing. It's really, I thank God, thank the Lord that we've able to move past it. Of course, we never forget, but I thank Lord that we've been able to move past it, and as you said earlier, have that faith to keep going and keep trying until we be like, okay, that's enough kids.
Yeah. So no, go ahead.
And even too, like, it was crazy because I would tell Bianca, like, okay, when we got pregnant with Junior, I was like, gosh, I don't want to forget Elena. I feel like we're replacing Elena.
It.
Like, that was the thing I kept saying, like, because I was just like, I can't forget her. That was my first. That was my daughter. That's my baby. Like, if we have another baby, I cannot forget her memory. And like, we have Lee Funeral Home, they gave us like a little plaque where they did the baby footprints and her footprints and her handprints. And it's crazy, like she had feet and hands just like me.
Just like Tereze.
Just like me. So like that plaque and like with her name on it and everything, like the memorabilia, like it was like they really did do a good job at Lee Funeral Home, and like they were there for us. And if I can say his name, also everybody was there too, and I especially thank one of the elders that was there for us. Like he might not notice, but like he was a very good intricate part and supportive part during that whole process. And he really was. And even when we went,
So you can shout him out if you want to.
Okay. Elder Robert Williams. He was a really big, intricate part in that whole entire process. Of course, our bishop too at the time, but at that time it was, Elder Williams was there. And but Montlon also too, where I have to say this.
Detail.
But I'm just saying, like, even that process of going there and where she's buried at, like everything was done right. Everything. It was like everybody was there. All the people who were there for us. Like, we really appreciate everybody. You guys, of course, asked us if we needed, y'all needed help with anything. Y'all need food. Y'all want us to come over, and just sit. Just sit with us. Like, y'all were also too a very, very, very important part, because like I said, we had knew each other, from seeing each other from campus ministry and stuff like that, but that was kind of like the official kickoff of the McKnights and the Kellers. And even to see why are you kicking me?
cut it off.
I'm just trying to do my thing. Lord have mercy. Misha said, let me be me, so I'm going to be me.
I'll be me.
Just, just even with that, I thank God for everything, who was there for us during that situation that time, especially y'all.
Y'all heard my strength.
Yeah,
right.
But one last question, Bianca, is there a condition that causes you maybe to have an early labor or?
Yeah. So, and it's funny that you mentioned this because I'm in PGS right now for nursing, and so we're going over a few things about kids and the early stages of pregnancy and how. And so there was one. Basically, what happened was my placenta abrupted, and so basically my placenta disconnected from my uterine wall, which cut off the oxygen and the blood flow to the baby. And so they knew that my amniotic fluid was low, and so that's why they were trying to do it all they can to keep her in, because they said the longer she stayed in, the better it would be for her.
And that's why they were giving her the steroid injections so that it could mature Elena's lungs.
Should she have to come
just
early.
In case, because they knew they was gonna have to deliver early, so they wanted her to at least be able to breathe on her own, not be hooked up to a ventilator or a machine.
Because it's crazy, because I think if not the first, maybe early or late part of December, I had just got like my last shot. So they were saying that things were looking on track. Even the doctor to this, to the days when I was going doing my care, it was a surprise to him, because he was like, he thought that I was gonna be he thought I was at a good place to have her or deliver her another week or two later. And so it was a big surprise. I mean, I went to him for all my pregnancies up until Landon, and every time I went to him, he would bring it up. Oh gosh, that first one, I did not see that coming. Like every time we go, and at first I was okay, you can stop saying it every time. But
it just shows.
But it just showed how, because of course, you have those thoughts, like, because I had called when I was in pain that night, and I called, and I was told to come in the morning. They didn't see the need to go into the hospital. So you think, what if I would have went to the hospital? What if I would have went on my own judgment? What if this? What if that? What if that? And you have to silence those thoughts, because the will of the Lord was done, and that's how you have to see it as. Because if not, then you would have that anger towards the Lord, and you'll be angry, and we wouldn't be able to be where we are today in regards to pregnancies.
And it just shows too how limited we are. How limited man is. Even when she was saying that he would say every single time on the other pregnancies, it's just that first one. I just don't know what happened. I mean, you can go to school, study for 4, 5, 10 years, and all your studies and expertise, if God says, I'm taking control of the situation, then there's nothing that the doctors can do.
Exactly.
God's will is going to be done one way or the other.